This is a special edition of Nightline. Pay for peace.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. This has been a violent summer in America. August was the deadliest month in Chicago in 20 years, and Washington, D.C. and Milwaukee saw their biggest homicide spikes in 2 decades. So tonight, we're going to take you inside one city's controversial approach, a program that pays young men not to shoot. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Byron Pitts.
Devone Rice is just 19 years old, but he's already had to say goodbye to 7 friends, each one murdered, and he's fed up.
That's cold, bro.
Today, he's paying his respects to 2 brothers buried in one plot, shot to death on the same day. He tells us he didn't cry when they died, but the tears coming now. And something else, anger.
What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Pain, man. Like real pain, bro. You know what I mean? Make me want to act in violence.
Watch closely. Grappling with an urge to avenge his friend's violent murders, Devone pulls out his phone. He's about to make a life or death decision, whether to call his boys and retaliate.
I had to sit back and I gotta think. Whether to go left or whether to go right.
5 bullets came from a white Mazda.
A brother and sister shot to death in Richmond last night.
This potent mix of pain, anger, and teenagers with guns, making Devone's hometown of Richmond, California, at one point, one of the deadliest cities in America. Here, the streets are hunting grounds. Corner after corner, young men run for their lives. Those puffs of smoke, bullets, chased by an armed rival. And here, a calculated hit is underway. 2 men calmly walking before they open fire, lighting up the night.
Every night on the news, you'd think this was Beirut. You'd be afraid to come to this city.
In 2007, the city brought in Devone Boggan, who came up with a controversial solution. Pay the young men like Devone not to pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. The better the behavior, the better the paycheck.
Ain't that funny?
This month, Devone got the maximum, $1,300.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
That day at the cemetery, he chose not to avenge his friend's murder.
Everything you do is gonna have a reaction, you know what I mean, and a consequence.
You on first check status.
Devone is just one of 24 young men in an 18-month-long fellowship that's run out of Devone's Office of Neighborhood Safety, or ONS, mostly funded by taxpayers.
That's our rent right here, boom.
There are people we've spoken to who believe it is wrong to pay a kid not to kill somebody.
Well, that's not what we do. In fact, I never tell a young man to put his gun down.
So what are you paying them for then?
Their job is to get their lives together.
Devone says incentivizing these young men to change is ultimately more cost-effective for everyone. One murder costs nearly $500,000 on average, almost all of it paid by taxpayers.
I painted all those cabinets right there.
So far, the investment in Devone is paying off. He just got his first on-the-books paying job.
When the people come in here and they move into their house, they would never know that little black kid from Richmond did it. You know what I mean? They'd never know.
Progress for a young man who was first arrested at age 12 for armed robbery. He says he was homeless, stole an iPhone to help his single mom pay her bills. Devone says he was well known on the streets.
A serial shooter.
That's what they would say. I called him a leader.
A hunter.
That's what they would call him. I called him brilliant, working to survive.
So the arrest date and then the conviction date. All right. We're not appealing their decision. We're applying for a waiver. Yeah.
To help the fellows navigate life or death choices, Devone enlisted men like James Houston and Sam Vaughn,
For the baby mama's sake, you got to, this is your first, so it got to be the most important.
who themselves have rap sheets for violent crimes.
So what's their resume look like? Graduate school, social work?
Most of our guys have come out of either state or federal prison.
Convicts?
Oh, absolutely. And let me tell you, City Hall was like, what? We're going to be looking to hire men and women who may have murder in their background.
It's their backgrounds that in part make them particularly suited to the most crucial part of their job, interrupting violence.
Hello?
The fellow calling tells James he thinks he's being hunted.
What kind of car?
A car filled with suspected rivals, parked in front of his house. Unarmed, Sam and James put their lives on the line to stop a potential shooting.
I'd rather protect myself than be screaming for help on the ground.
We're told to keep our cameras down because the young man asked us not to show his face, his house, nor use his name.
I'm telling you, serious, take my word.
But I'm telling you,
calm down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
only be so
what
damn
I'm
calm.
saying,
What
what I'm saying is,
whoever it is right now, they just a dead man walking.
Let us try to deal with this.
Sam and James stay with him until he calms down.
For a minute, it was a hard choice, but then again, I had to really think about it.
it is a cry for help. It just isn't the typical one because they don't want to do something, but they feel like they have to.
In a 5-year period, the number of homicides dropped 76% across Richmond, a number that can't be attributed to ONS alone. But ONS says the proof that their approach is working, the vast majority of fellows are still alive. But the change agents say many of the fellows in their program still carry guns for protection.
How do you square that with if you are trying to teach them how to function in society, but yet they're still strapped?
Right now, we're just trying to teach them not to deal with their conflict with violence. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying I understand your reality.
But having so many armed men on these streets is not a reality police here are comfortable with.
Lots of people carry around, usually more firepower than the police do.
We're with them when a routine traffic stop
Stay in the car, please.
turns into an armed standoff.
Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up! It's a firearm.
The driver has a gun out in plain view.
Keep your hands up!
Not uncommon in Richmond, where protection from being hunted can be more important than hiding the weapon from police.
Don't move. If you move, you're gonna get shot. Do you understand? Keep your hand right there.
The two cops are outnumbered by the 4 men in the car, and no telling if the passengers are armed. In an instant, this could take a fatal turn.
Keep your hands on the headrest. Hands on the headrest. We got him coming right now.
Waiting on backup to arrive, Officer Ben Terrio makes a move.
Put a bead on him.
Holstering his gun so he can disarm the driver.
Step out. Step out the car. Put your hands behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back.
Turns out there was a second gun in the back seat.
Revolver?
But thankfully, no shots fired this time.
He may bail out before I even get off work, you know? And there's 2 firearms recovered in the vehicle.
Old school Uzi, pump action shotgun.
The guns laid out on this table at police headquarters were confiscated in just 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
This is an AK-47 type rifle.
A staggering amount in a city of only 100,000 people.
Sawed-off double barrel.
So when you talk about serial shooters in Richmond, this is their potential arsenal here.
Any one of these guns or something similar, we could retrieve off the streets any day of the week.
But no matter how many illegal guns are pulled off the streets, nationally about half the people charged with firearm offenses get their cases dropped and go right back to the street.
You all right?
Which is why Devone and his team think their approach, working with instead of against young men like Devone,
You got a good heart, man. I
has
get
to
it.
be part of the equation.
But it's just really like we thinking it's sometimes an extreme.
They get to make the decisions about how peaceful and safe this city is. And they're making those decisions every day. So we want to expose them to a world where they go from, I don't give up, to a place where maybe I do.
Devone's good behavior earns him the next huge reward in the program. An all-expenses paid trip out east to Washington, D.C. and New York City. But there's a catch.
You have to be willing to travel with someone that's trying to kill you or that you're suspected of trying to kill.
Being made to face the perceived enemy is perhaps the biggest hallmark of the program. When we come back, watch what happens when Devone comes face-to-face with his supposed rival.
Y'all making it seem like we tripping and y'all tripping and we making y'all trip.
I'm Claudine, and I quit
Same dude.
Kids glasses are just $99. VisionWorks. Shop in store or online.
Here in Richmond, California, bullets fly and blood is shed because of long simmering neighborhood rivalries.
I wouldn't have a problem like everybody stays in their own lane. North stay in their lane, we stay in our lane.
19-year-old Devone Rice is about to come face-to-face with Mariko Williams, who will be his travel partner for the upcoming trip. Mariko is one of the guys from the other side of town.
They grow up enemies, but they don't know, man, we're the same dude.
Bullets is just flying everywhere, so you have to really be on guard, keep your eyes open at all times.
So far, 18-year-old Mariko has not been shot, but his mother fears it could be a matter of time.
I worry a lot, every night, every day. I pray.
What's your biggest fear?
That I have to bury him.
They're about to meet for the first time. Each is joined by another fellow in the program from their own neighborhood.
Devone and Mariko, what was the dynamic?
Antagonism.
They're rivals.
They're rivals. And
Violent rivals? Willing to hurt each other?
Oh, no question about that. And for a cause that they believe in.
The change agents stay close by because confrontations like this can turn deadly in an instant.
Let it be known that you little tripping, feel me? That you little tripping with it, because now y'all making it seem like we tripping and y'all tripping and we making y'all trip.
Devone says Mariko's crew disrespected one of Dewone's murdered friends on Facebook. Social media posts have been a flashpoint for violence in this community before.
That's disrespectful, feel me? And there's a meanness behind that, feel me? That's why like, feel me, like, confused. Like,
finally, Mariko and his friend agree the post should be deleted.
So we said?
Yeah.
Navigating this conflict with words, not violence, is a major step for these young men.
Without this program, we would have never met. We would have never had an encounter like that. It would have been negativity.
So how is it that you guys get along now?
How?
You and the guys in the program?
Oh, because we have a conversation.
So you can settle differences that maybe in the past might have been settled with guns. You settle.
We're talking it out. Bro, whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop-de-wop. There you go. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. That's all.
Settled.
All right, I got you, bro.
But even though this encounter was a positive one, neighborhood change agents like Sam Vaughn know it doesn't ensure a safe tomorrow.
It feels like you guys got 1,000 balls going in the air, and one could fall any time.
Yeah.
A kid could be hurt. A kid could bring something into your space. You could be hurt.
Yeah.
How do you juggle all those balls you guys are trying to juggle?
Delicately. And it's different for each. It's different. And that's the challenging part.
Which is why cultivating relationships with the fellows is perhaps the most important part of Sam's job. Sam is on his way to see Mariko, who has been having trouble in the program.
What's up, Mariko?
Now you would have got a little more.
Bro.
So this month, his paycheck from the neighborhood change agents was only $500.
All we got to do is stay focused.
A far cry from the $1,300 he could have earned. He had lied about going to community college.
If you don't understand nothing but this, you ain't never got to lie to me, bro. Not never.
For Sam, working through moments like this is what the program is all about.
We try to get them to be responsible and accountable. We let them know that we love you, but this is unacceptable. And we help them realize it's unacceptable through love.
If you painting this pretty picture and we thinking it's all, you know what I'm saying, roses, bro, we just following suit. But you're all messed up, bro, and you ain't even letting nobody know. And that's an issue, man. So let's get through that.
Is there any sense that maybe you're coddling these kids who need a firm hand, who need discipline, who need to be straightened out, who in some instances perhaps need to be incarcerated?
Absolutely. Their growth and development requires a little coddling, coaching, discipline. That's what they get here.
My late mama will call all that loving on these boys like parents.
Brother Byron, that's exactly it's not that hard. These young men shoot because when they shoot, they matter. It's when we pay attention to them.
His approach, called Advanced Peace, the Richmond Fellowship model, is now resonating around the country. Cities like Chicago, Baltimore, D.C., and Oakland, struggling to stop the surging violence on their streets, have called on Devone for help. The reward trip to New York and D.C. is just a week away. Devone and the change agents are taking the young men out suit shopping. This is the first time Devone has ever worn a suit.
I think it's smooth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something he says he didn't think he'd do until he was in a coffin. In fact, he never thought he'd live to see this year.
Next year, bro, I'm gonna be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Real talk.
You thought that? And now? And now?
I mean, anything could happen in seconds. In the next 30 seconds, I could get killed or something. But now I'm aiming for success, and I'm not turning back. You know what I mean? Nobody, no man, no woman could slow me down.
Finally, it's time to fly. This is the day the fellows have been working towards. It's only their third time meeting, but now they'll be doing everything together for 8 long days.
For like $1 million.
So many firsts, far away from the streets of Richmond. The rivalries and reality of living there seem to dissipate.
Blue strips. People say, what's your theory of change? Blow these young men's minds on life.
Show them what's possible.
Show them what's possible, and show them what's possible in the context of being with their so-called enemy.
From the corridors of power.
This is raw right here. This is a boy.
To the skyline of New York City.
I call it the top of the world. This is raw. You know what I mean? I've never seen nothing like this before.
Perhaps a new perspective on the world and each other, and what's possible for a life well lived without violence.
They don't come back kumbaya, home team. But they come back and it's Byron and Devone.
Not that sucker from across town.
Not sucker.
It's a lot harder to shoot someone you know, respect, maybe even like.
On this trip from the south side to the north, we got to know each other.
Can you maintain that, though, when you get back to
Most
Richmond?
definitely. This is a revolution, you know what I mean? A new era.
6 months after the trip, Devone has stayed out of trouble with the law, but he's under some new stress. He's expecting his first child, a son, a cycle of its own. But neither Devone nor Mariko has had any new gun charges. For them and Devone, that's a major victory.
The process itself brings these young men to a place where they go, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I feel like I have to have a gun.
And our thanks to Byron for that extraordinary report, and we'll be right back.
This special edition of Nightline is brought to you by Ford.
Still get 0% APR for up to 66 months plus 1,000 bonus cash on the one-of-a-kind Soul. Ranked highest in its segment in initial quality by J.D. Power. Hurry into your Kia retailer before September 6th.
Moving fast on breaking news. Channel 2 Action News this morning starting at 4:30.
And we leave you tonight with a sobering statistic on gun violence. So far this year, there have been more than 37,000 total incidences of gun violence in America, and more than 2,000 of those killed or injured were between the ages of 12 and 17. We want to thank you for watching ABC News tonight. Tune in to GMA first thing in the morning, and as always, we're online 24/7 at abcnews.com and on our Nightline Facebook page. Thank you again for watching, and good night.